Okay, so the first thing that we're going to talk about is how to work our cameras. This is a Kodak Pixel Pro. This is what we call a point and shoot camera because there's not a lot of things that you have to change on this in order to take a picture. So you can literally point your lens at something, push the button, which we call shooting, and then you will have a picture. Okay? Now, this is sort of like the basic camera. From here, cameras can build up and up and up and up. This is something called a mirrorless camera, and it's sort of like a big step up from this to this. Then we get into something called a DSLR, where you can take the lenses off and change out the lenses, and you can adjust all the settings, and that would be more of a professional grade camera. So, to work this is your lens area. This little slide is going to open up. You never want to put your finger anywhere near here. This is going to move, and if you stop it from moving, if you sort of have your hands wrapped around like this when you turn it on and this part pops out and your hands stop it, it will jam it and it'll be broken. Okay, so always keep your hands clear of this ring. So over here and over here are the best places to hold it. Before you get up and you move, this is something that always has to be done. Your hand has to go through here and then hold it. That way, if you bump into somebody and you accidentally let go, it's going to hang from your arm. Capiche? Okay, you have three main buttons on top. This little button, what's that symbol mean? Power. That's going to turn us on. This one is a little bit hard to see, but that is a little video camera if you wanted to shoot video. We're not today. And then this is your picture taking button, or your shoot button as I like to call it. This is important. Whenever you're ready to shoot, you're going to focus. I focus by tapping this button lightly. Once I'm in focus, I press and hold it down, trying to be very still with my hands, until I feel the picture take. Good. So you'll feel the picture, you'll hear it click, and it'll physically move. But the biggest mistake that I've had when kids use this is they don't tap it lightly to focus. If you don't have a picture in focus, it is what? Blurry. And nobody needs blurry focus pictures. So we would tap it once, and then we would hold it down. The second most mistake kids do is they get too excited about taking the picture and they want to see it, and they don't give the camera enough time to actually take the picture. So they snap it, oh great, and then they move it. And while they're moving it, the picture takes. So you get a really nice picture of like the bottom of the desk instead of what you were actually aiming for. So make sure you give your camera a few seconds to actually do its job, because this thing is pretty much just a tiny little computer that has a lot of things that it has to do in order to take a picture. Now on the back you've got your screen. This is where you're going to see everything. Does anybody know what W and T stand for? There is a minus sign on this one and a plus sign on this one with a magnifying glass. What do you think?
Zoom in and zoom out.
Good job. So the minus sign is going to get you wider or zoom out, and the plus sign is going to get you tighter, or it's going to zoom in. The closer in you zoom on things, they have a tendency to get blurry. So try not to get too close and too tight to something so that your camera can't understand what it is. Your play button is how you do what? What do you guys think?
Watch videos.
Not watch videos. Yes, look at your pictures. So after I'm done, if I want to look at my pictures and check it out, see if I did a good job, that will hit your play button. Anytime that you want to get back to taking a picture, you just tap your shoot button. Now there are some other things on here that we won't necessarily need today. Okay, so let's try this out. I'm going to press my power button. You do have to press it a little bit. You'll hear it ding, ding, ding. And then now I'm going to hold this in here. I'm just going to focus. And now it's focused and ready. I can see that. I'm going to go ahead and snap my picture. It flashed. And now I'm going to turn this upside down. I'm going to hit play. See, you can see I took a picture of a picture here, or a picture on my desk. It doesn't look that great because of the screen. There you go. You can see it a little better that way. So that's a decent picture. It's all in focus. All right, now I want to talk to you guys about some things to keep in mind. I'm going to turn this off Anytime you're not using it, turning it off so it will keep the battery alive and well is a good idea. I want to talk to you guys about some things that make a good photograph, okay? And the most important thing is today what we're going to be doing is photojournalism, because we're going to be going around and we're going to be checking out some things that other people are working on, and we're going to be taking pictures of them. Now, photojournalism is taking photographs that document what is happening instead of post pictures, like the things you would see in a newspaper, okay? So that's sort of what we're going for today. This means that you will be taking pictures of what is happening and not just taking pictures of people smiling at the camera. So your goal today is not to get a really fun picture of your best friend. That's maybe what your iPod is for. That's not what we're doing here today. We are photojournalists. We're going to use unique angles and focus to take eye-catching photos. And let's take a look at some examples. This is obviously not Ridgedale, but these kids are having a science event and somebody has snapped a really good photojournalist picture. Are any of these people looking at the camera? No, and that's okay. That's what we look for in photojournalism. It's almost like we're news reporters and we're just there to document what's happening, okay? So we're not interrupting anybody. We're not saying, hey, look over here. We are almost invisible when we're a photojournalist. We're sort of sneaking in. We are maybe moving, bending down to get a really good angle of the table so we can see what these kids are doing. And then maybe we move around and maybe we take 3 or 4 pictures of the same thing. So here's another one. These teachers are given a presentation. It looks like it was a fun moment. Somebody did something that made them smile and they got a good picture of it. These kids are working in action, so the front of their face is not even in the picture. A good photojournalist will move around. So like maybe taking an up-close picture of her hand painting on the wall. Then maybe moving around to the backside to take a picture. Getting all of these people in the picture was a really good design way to frame this picture. So, do you think this person is bent down low or standing up high? Yeah, so they might have been up on their tippy toes or even holding their camera, above their head pointing down. If you can't see what's in the picture, that's okay. You might want to hold it, snap it, and then bring it down and look and see if it turned out okay. So different angles. Now, do you think this person is up high or down low? Yeah, they've sort of mingled in behind the kids. They found a little gap in here, and they've gone ahead to take a picture. So these are just some good examples of what taking pictures in photojournalism would be. Now, we've already talked about how to work your camera, so I want to talk to you really quickly about a couple of things called composition. Composition is the way you arrange things in your photograph. Just like in art, you decide where to put things. So let's say I'm going to take a picture of this camera, okay? So if I hold my camera directly in front of there and I put it right in the center. Let's see if I can get this light to go away. There we go. So I could put it right in the center. I gotta move my string. I can tap it down so it's in focus. Now it's in focus. There. That's okay. But I could do some other things. I can move farther away. I could maybe take it from this side. I'm going to take it. Do you guys see how I'm angling my camera down and then I'm tilting in a diagonal line? Now look at that picture. That's a little more interesting. Maybe I could take it from this side. Maybe I could take it from this side. Maybe I could move it so the camera is not directly in the middle. Let me take another one here. Maybe I move it so the camera is now up and there's extra space around there. So it's okay to take multiple pictures of the same thing to find out something that's going to work really well. This is an important thing that you do not want to do. We call it limb chops. Think of it like karate and you're chopping off somebody's limb. What's a limb? Arm or leg, okay? Those are your limbs. A good photograph would not chop off somebody's limbs because it's visually incorrect. Her hands should be in this picture, okay? If they had moved back a little bit, her hands would be in this picture and it would be a really, really good photograph. But because they got too close, they cut off her hands and it's distracting to the photograph. Your body is okay, but hands and feet are not okay. Now, this picture is okay because her hands are not in it. If you're going to get close enough that you're not having half of a hand in a picture and half of a hand out of the picture, or move farther away. If you're not sure, get nice and close and take a picture, and then get nice and far away and take a picture, and we'll decide later on which one is better. So what limb did we chop here? We've chopped her legs. I have part of her toe in there, and it makes me wonder where the other part of her toe is. This is a limb chop. That's something we don't want to do. So just get nice and close and don't have any limbs at all. Or get really nice and close and just have a really cute baby photo. What did we chop off here? Her hands, yeah. So we could just get close enough that her hand is not in there at all. Alright, one other thing. One other thing that we want to keep in mind is something called the rule of thirds.
The rule of thirds.
Now, I'm always saying that math and art have a lot in common, and this is another one of those examples. Fractions are important, okay? Think of your camera as a grid. It is very helpful to place your subject or the main part of your picture instead of always putting it in the center. And I'm not saying you can't take a picture with something in the center, because you absolutely can. But by moving it to one of these corners, you're using something in art we call the rule of thirds, and it makes a much more interesting picture, a much more artistic picture. So if this baby was in the middle, this would be a less interesting picture. See, so we can move them down here. Anywhere around this box is your prime spot. Does that make sense to everybody? Alright, so our three main goals are accurate focus.
Accurate focus.
Trying different angles.
Trying different angles.
Like up high.
Like up high.
Down low.
Down low.
A little bit tilted.
A little bit tilted.
No limb chopping.
No limb chopping.
And being very careful with our camera.
And being very careful with our camera.
Awesome.
Awesome.
One last note that I forgot to add is to look through your photos. You're going to hit the power button if it's not already on. You would press the play button. Once your photo pops up, you can use these outside buttons to go either to the left or to the right. The left is back a photo, and the right is forward a photo. If you get a photo by mistake, you can press the garbage can, which is at the bottom. It'll pop up and it'll say, do you want to delete one picture? You would scroll up and press down if you do. If you do not want to delete one, you hit exit. Do not, repeat, do not delete any picture other than your own. Good job.